Okay, so here's question number 2. In rabbits, we saw that homozygous dominant for big C is equal to normal legs. Then we saw that the heterozygote form was deformed legs. Then we have little c, and that's lethal. So if an individual inherits both those recessive alleles, then they're not born. And then a second trait we'll be looking at is coat color. So we saw that big B equals black fur in rabbits. Then we have the heterozygous is brown fur. And then homozygous recessive is white fur in rabbits. So now the question is asking us for the phenotypic ratio of a cross between a deformed leg brown rabbit crossed with a deformed leg white rabbit. So now your job then is to do a dihybrid cross that shows us the possible offsprings. So if we set up a dihybrid cross, I apologize for my misproportioned dihybrid cross. So we would take our possible gametes and fill them in along the top for the one parent, and then over on the side. And then we fill in our Punnett square. I apologize for my sloppy writing. Oops, that's a big C. Sorry, big C. Okay, so now we need to find the phenotypic ratio. So one of the key things we should do is we should write down the possible genotypes that can be found between these parents. So now it is possible to have normal legs in the offspring. And so normally you would do, okay, normal with black fur, but we can tell that in our parents here, because one parent is homozygous recessive, none of their offsprings will be have black fur. It is impossible for these two parents to have black furred offspring. So then our next choice would be normal with brown fur. Then another phenotype we'd look at is normal legs with white fur. Then we want to see how many are deformed legs with brown fur. Again, I'm skipping black fur because these two parents can't have any offspring like that. And then deformed legs with white fur. Now, we stop there. We don't do the homozygous recessive because it is lethal. So if any offspring inherits this double lethal allele, then they do not survive. So in our Punnett square here, we can just go ahead and cross out these offspring. They do not survive. Now, our job would be to count up how many of the offspring are normal legs with brown fur. So first I'm just going to circle in blue all of the offspring that have normal legs. So that's my homozygous dominant. So here's a homozygous dominant. Here's one for the C alleles. So here I have 4 that have the homozygous dominant combination, and of these 4, 2 are brown and 2 are white furred. Then I'm going to look at my offspring that have the deformed legs. And if I find those, there's my heterozygote. So here's one. Here's another one. Here's one. There's one. Like that. So out of these, now there are 8 offspring out of the 16 that have deformed legs. And in those 8, I need to see how many are brown fur and how many are white fur. So my brown fur ones are heterozygote for the B allele. So here is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So out of those, I have 4. And then for the, if we look at how many have white fur, out of those we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are my 4. So my ratio then, my overall ratio would be a 2 to 2 to 4 to 1. And I can reduce that down to 1 to 1 to 2 to 2. So that is my overall answer.